Hi, my name is Mark, and today I'd like to tell you more about a game called Snails. It's a game published by Galakta, and thanks Galakta for sending the game for review. It's a game created by Damian Stankowski, and this game is about snails that fight with each other, use different crazy, deadly weapons, and they fight on an island. You will lead one team of snails, and your goal is to defeat all the other teams. If you ever played a game called Worms, a video game, this is basically Worms, the board game, but with snails. It's a game for 2 to 4 players, so it doesn't have a solo mode, but I wanted to show you this game because I think this is a really cool game, well developed and fun. And I also played a lot of Worms video game when I was younger, so I like this kind of gameplay. A few days ago I posted unboxing video of this game, so if you are curious what's inside, you can watch the other video. I will leave link in the description. But today I want to tell you more how the game plays, and I want to tell you my opinion. So let me show you how to play Snails. So here we have Snails during a 2-player game. This is not the beginning of the game because I wanted to show you some elements that appear a little later in the game. Here we have a board, and on this board we will set up the layout of the island where the action takes place. On the board you have printed numbers like this that show you how many terrain tiles you have to stack together. We have 3 different types of tiles. We have beaches, we have meadows, and we have mountains. So if you have 3, you have to stack 3 of them. During the game you will of course destroy the island with your weapons or with your pickaxe, and then you will remove the tiles. We also have water that is printed on the board, and any snail that ends up in the water at the end of the round will get damaged because the water is toxic. Here we have the, you can say, toxicity track, and it shows how many damage points each snail in the water will get at the end of the round. Different levels, they are quite important because if you move around the board, moving to the same level or level that is lower costs only 1 movement point, but moving up costs 2 points. Also, when you fire your weapon, every weapon can target a snail on the same level as you or lower, but only special weapons can target snails that are above your ground level. So the other side of the board, because the board is double-sided, doesn't have anything printed on it, so you can create any island you want from the tiles that are available. On the tiles, terrain tiles, we have the snails. They are laying flat because I wanted you to see something. Normally you should stand them, they should stand up, but that way you will not see the snails. So we have standees. Each player gets 4 snails, and each player will place them at the beginning of the game during setup, and then you will move those snails and you will attack other players. Here we have the round counter. The whole game lasts 6 rounds. If one team will defeat all other teams before the end of 6th round, of course this team will win. But if more teams survive after 6th round, then the player who's got more surviving snails wins the game. If more players have the same number of snails, then you check who's got more health points in total. So this is basically the board. Here we have a thick stack of special action cards. There are 2 types of cards. All the red cards are weapons that you will be able to get during the game and use against your opponents. And then you have the purple cards. They are like some special actions, special abilities. They allow you to, I don't know, dig or place mines or heal, or you have a jetpack that will allow you to fly around the board. So those are the special action tiles. We have some tokens. These tokens will mark if the terrain tile is damaged or not, because you can think that every tile has got 2 life points. When you damage a terrain tile, you will place this token, so it means this tile is damaged. If you should place a second damage token and there's already one, the tile gets destroyed. Of course, when you destroy terrain tiles, they have some effects printed at the bottom, not all of them. Some have, so they are placed randomly. Sometimes you can find a mine, and the mine will deal damage to each snail at this tile. Sometimes you have bonus that gives you additional special action cards. Sometimes there is this barrel printed, and this barrel increases toxicity of the water. So different bonuses or traps are hidden under those tiles. So we have these tokens, we have some fire tokens that will be placed on the board as an effect of a weapon or a mine or dynamite. As you have seen, a lot of action cards and they have different effects. Then each player gets those 4 snails. Each player gets a player board. Player board looks like this. Here you will track the life points of all your snails. You have these round tokens. They are in player color, or there are some special leaders, and you will place those tokens here and move them left or right depending if you lose health or gain health points. Here are spaces where you will place the square tokens, and they show which snail is the active one in the current round. Because at the start of each round, you have to choose which snail will perform all the actions. You have placed for your main snail, and for a substitute snail, you will place it face down like this. And if you perform a special action during the round, I will talk about the actions a little later, then you can swap those snails. But basically, at the start of each round, you have to choose which 2 snails can perform actions during the current round. Below you have 5 spaces, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and here are the spaces where you will place your action cards, the action cards you have in your hand. Each round you will place 5 cards face down, and then you will activate them from left to right. So in a way you have to program all your actions for the given round at the start of basically each round. Then you are not able to swap those action cards. Then you will also get a special leader board that you attach to the player board like this. There are 6 factions in the game. Each faction has got a special ability shown here. The abilities are also described on this player sheet. You have 6 factions: Amazon, Barbarians, Cowboys, Pirates, Ninja and Zombie. They have different abilities, and each faction has got a special action card that you can acquire during the game. Basically, if in a previous round one of your snails died, then you get a reward with this card, and you can use it. If you use it, you will place it again in your player area, and again, if another snail dies, then you can get this card one more time. So each player chooses a color, and the basic snails are the same for each player. They just have different colors, but the leaders are different because they give you faction ability, and also a leader can reroll a combat die for free during the attack. So main board, terrain, snails, you have your player board, different tokens, and now we can play the game. At the start of each round, the first thing you do, you skip this during the first round of the game, but in second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, you will take 1 card from this deck. Then you can discard 2 cards from your hand in order to draw another special card from here. You can see that I have cards in different colors. Apart from the special purple cards and special red cards, I have 5 action cards in color of my team, and those are the basic action cards. Each player has got the same 5 action cards, the basic ones, and you cannot discard or remove them during the game. They are your basic cards with the 6 basic actions that are available during the game. But if you have the special action card, the purple or red one, you can discard 2 of them to take a new one from the deck. Then is the planning phase, and during the planning phase you have to choose which snail will be your main snail, let's say I will choose, I don't know, this one for example, and you place it face down on the left spot on your player board, then you can choose the, you can say, substitute snail, the other snail that you will use if you use the special action. So let's use this one. The other ones are also placed face down near your player board. You have to do it in secret so other players don't know which snails you chose for the current round. And then you have to choose 5 action cards and you will place them from left to right. And this will be your only actions that you will be able to perform during the current round. So this will be, for example, my first card, then my second card, then, for example, this one, and I don't know, maybe this one, and this one. You place them face down, because your opponents cannot see what you have planned, and the rest of the cards will be placed face down here. Each player does the same, chooses 2 snails and 5 action cards, and then you go to phase 3, and then you have the actions phase. During actions phase, in player order, you will reveal the first leftmost card that is face down, like this, and during the first action, you will show everyone which snail will perform those actions. And here are the basic actions. The basic cards, they have 2 sides, and when you reveal a card, you have to choose which side you want to use. So we have 2 basic actions to choose from. It helps you during the game, because sometimes during the round, the state of the board can change a lot. So you always have 2 choices for the basic card. This one allows you to dig. If you use this action here, you can try to find a new special card and you will dig. You place this damage token on the current tile and you take the topmost card from the deck. You can only have 10 cards in your hand, but you check how many cards you have at the end of first phase of next round, so you don't have to worry for now. If you would like to dig for the second time, then you will also get this special card, but then this tile will be removed. You have to check what's beneath. If there is the symbol with 2 cards, you will get those cards. But only if you dig. If you destroy a terrain tile with, I don't know, a grenade, for example, you get no bonus. So the first action allows you to dig and search for new action cards. This action is aim, and this means that if the next action card in the order that you will reveal your next turn is the red attack card, and the red attack cards, they require you to roll a die to check what's the outcome of the attack. If you placed this action, this will allow you to re-roll your die. Remember that the big leaders, they can also re-roll 1 attack die. So if you have chosen this action and your current snail is the leader, you will be able to re-roll a die twice. So this is quite nice. So 2 basic actions. Then we have, for example, a special attack card. And on this card you can see the name of the card, some artwork. This arrow up means that you can target snails that are on a ground above you. Without this arrow, you can only hit snails on the same level as you or lower. This is the range. 0-2 means your hex or hexes up to 2 range. And you can see this hex symbol in the background, and this means that all snails on the target hex will get damage. Because sometimes there are cards, let me find it, a card for example like this one, it doesn't have a hex here, it has a circle, and this means that you only hit 1 chosen snail. It makes sense, because if you hit a snail with a hammer, you only hit 1 snail, but if you fire a mortar at your opponents at the hex, everyone there will get damage. And then you have 2 symbols, a square and a circle. You have to roll this die and see what happens. I have rolled square, so I will perform these actions. It means everyone on this text, on the hex that I have chosen, will get 15 damage, and then this icon means that I will destroy this whole terrain hex. If I rolled a circle, it means that I, for example, deal 15 damage to each snail on the hex, but this attack also affects a chosen adjacent space. So there are different outcomes depending on the result of your die, and remember, if you have chosen aim as an action for your previous card, you can reroll a die, and if you have a leader, you can reroll a die as well. So those are the red attack cards. Now we have this card. This action allows you to move around the board. You can move up to 2 spaces if they are on the same level as you or lower. So I could move here and here, here and here. But if you want to go up, you have to spend the whole movement, the 2 movement points on one step. So moving up costs 2 movement points, moving on the same level or jumping down costs only 1 movement point. This action allows you to hide in your shell. Each player gets these 2 shell tokens, and if you use this action, you can place this shell on your standee, and this means that this snail is hiding in its shell. When a snail is in a shell, each damage you will get is reduced by 5, and additionally, one thing I forgot to tell you, when you move your snails on the board, there is a limit of 3 snails on one hex. If a 4th snail would move to a hex with 3 snails there, one of the snails that was on the hex will be pushed, and the person that moves in decides where to push this chosen snail. So this is a way to push snails into the water, and remember that snails in the water will get damage at the end of the round. But if a snail is hiding in his shell, this snail cannot be pushed from the hex. So this allows you to hide. But if you attack another snail or if you move around, you have to remove your shell. Now we have another action card, and this allows you again to aim. So remember, you will be able to reroll your combat die, or you can swap the active snail with the one that you have chosen as a substitute one. So you will take this token, place it on the side to the right, and you will reveal the second snail that you have chosen for the round. And now this snail will be able to perform all the remaining actions that you have placed below your player board. So this is clever because it allows you to change the strategy during the round and surprise your opponents. And the last action that we haven't talked about, because we have 6 basic actions. You can aim, you can dig, you can hide in your shell, you can move, you can swap, and you can punch your opponent. And this is like a basic attack. If you have no other weapons, you can punch a snail on your hex tile, and you will deal 5 damage to that snail. Remember that we also have these purple cards, and for example, if this is a card that you have chosen, you could use Medikit to heal 10 health points to you or any other snail on your hex. So there are a lot of cards. At the end of each round, the 4th phase is cleaning, and then you will resolve all the end of the round effects. Like if you have a fire on a hex, you will damage this hex. If you have dynamite on a hex, you will destroy the whole hex with the dynamite. All snails in the water will be dealt damage shown on this toxic track here. Then you will take all the action cards that you have placed in your round back to your hand. The action cards, the special action cards, are usually one-time use, so you will discard them. You can only keep them if they have this infinity icon here. If you have played a red card or a purple card with the infinity symbol, you can take it back into your hand, otherwise it will be discarded. So you take all those cards that you have placed below, you take this snail token, and this is the end of the round. You have to advance the round tracker, and you start again. You will draw 1 card, you can discard 2 cards to draw another one. If you have more than 10 cards, you have to discard cards, but you can never discard the basic action cards. And then you will again plan your actions, place your hidden cards below your player board, then perform the action, then do the cleaning, and you play for 6 rounds, or you will play a shorter game if you manage to destroy all the snails from your opponent. If not, the player with most snails wins. If there is a tie, the player with most health points in total wins the game. And this is basically how you play Snails. Let me tell you what I think about this game. So let's talk about Snails. What I think about this game. I think that it's very easy to learn and very easy to teach because the rules are not that complex, but at the same time the game has got enough depth to be attractive to more advanced players, because you have so many weapons and different strategies and different things you can do in the game that I think it's fun even for more experienced gamers, but at the same time it's a game that you can easily teach to newcomers. There are a lot of different weapons and a lot of different cards, and this is really great. If you played Worms video game, you know that the Worms, they had different weapons, and here is the same. You have range weapons, you have close combat weapons, you have crazy weapons like pie or a pigeon, bazooka. I don't know. Each faction has got a unique weapon, so a lot of cards. So this is really cool because every time you play the game, you never know what type of weapons you will get from the special action deck. I like the fact that you have the modular map here, so the island doesn't look the same all the time. On one side of the board you have a layout already printed on it, so you know what tiles to place there. It's recommended for your initial games, but the other side of the board is, you can say, plain, and it's up to you what tiles you will place there. So it's really nice. Each time you play the game you can create a different island. There are 6 factions in this game. Each faction has got a unique ability and a unique weapon, so this is nice because all the basic action cards are the same for each player, but the unique ability make the factions different. Of course, I wish that maybe the factions will be more different from each other, and for example each faction could have a completely different deck of action cards, but even with this one unique ability and one weapon, playing different factions feel different. You have to know that the more players in this game, the game becomes more chaotic, and this is quite obvious when I showed you how to play the game. You know that you place all the action cards before basically the round starts, so you have to plan in advance. If you play a 2-player game, it's maybe easier to guess what your opponents can do, but with 4 players this is mayhem on board. When the turn comes back to you, a lot of the island could be removed. There can be some dead snails so it's not really possible to plan everything. With 2 players, maybe with 4, this is a crazy game. The game is also quite random because a lot of things in the game are set up randomly. You have the random bonuses on the other side of the tiles. You never know what you find out when you destroy or remove a tile. The special action cards are shuffled and you roll your dice when you fight, so this is a random game. Don't expect a, I don't know, GMT type of strategy war game. This is a crazy random game. You can try to have some tactics in it and strategy, but you have to expect the unexpected in this game. And another thing that I would love to see, something like a deluxe component pack maybe in the future. I don't know if Galakta has planned something like this, but even with the basic components the game looks okay. I understand that they wanted to keep the price lower. This is not a Kickstarter overpriced, overproduced game. This game goes straight to retail. I'm really curious what is the future of Snails, because this game could introduce a lot of different expansions. You could have different factions and different terrain tiles, new weapons, new special cards, so the sky is the limit, you can say, because you could add more and more things to this game. But we will see. The game will be released on SPIEL Essen this year. If you are there, you can buy this game, you can play the game. They will release a mini expansion there, and there will be some promo cards that you could can get for free if you buy the game on Essen. So I really encourage you to try it if you have a chance. And this is basically worms, aka snails on board. Really fun. I would say even party game for geeks, party game for people who want something more from a typical party game, but this is like a beer and pretzel game. Gather with your friends and have fun. Take your weapons, take your snail teams and destroy each other. That's basically it. Click the like button if you like the video, subscribe to my channel. You can visit me on different social media platforms. All the links are in the description of this video. Thank you for watching. See you next time. Bye.